Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, back down here at the Pathfinder Outdoor Classroom. This will be part 4, I believe it is, in our tanning series. What I want to talk to you today about particularly is bark tanning. Now, we've put a raccoon hide into a bark tanning liquor, and that bark tanning liquor was made up of black walnut hulls that had been sitting in water for probably the last couple of months. We used that liquor to dye some material at a folk skills class a few months ago when we made baskets, and we dyed the basketry material in this walnut dye. So you can use this walnut liquor to dye lots of things, including traps that you're going to use that season. You can dye them in black walnut to kind of make them black. If you get a brand new trap or something that's got some oil on it, you can boil that oil off of them, let them get a little bit of surface rust, and then put them in a black walnut solution, and it will stain that metal black. And I'll show you evidence of that here real quick. So when we first put this raccoon hide in this liquor, in this walnut hull dye liquor, I used a rusted weight like this on top of the hide the first couple of days to hold it to the bottom until it got well saturated and would sink into the liquor. The weight that I took out of that liquor is this one. So you can see the dramatic difference in color between those two, and it does the same thing to a trap. So if you soak a trap inside this liquor, it will turn it black like that. And it's a good way to dye your traps before the trapping season, whether you wax them or not. Okay, so we've had this raccoon in this black walnut hull dye solution for about a week. And for a thin hide, that's probably enough. Now, we went through the exact same processes here of flushing the hide, setting the hair, degreasing the hide, rinsing the hide, and then putting it in this tanning solution. A thicker hide than this would take longer. But a raccoon hide is a fairly thin hide. So now we want to pull it out of this solution. You can see it's dyed that skin completely black. It's not normal flesh skin color anymore. It's now black. So we're going to wring this out really, really good. And this tannin from these walnut hulls, and tannin is one of the main chemical compounds in black walnut hulls, is going to dry this out dramatically once it gets dried. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back on a stretcher, and we're going to let it begin to dry out before we go to the next process. We will need to oil this hide while we're breaking it. We'll talk about that after we stretch it and dry it for a couple of days. And we flip this raccoon right side out here, and we'll flip everything, including his ears, to the outside. And we're going to put him on the stretcher. We're going to pull his legs out. Everything's going to come to the outside. We're going to flip him gut side in or flesh side in. We're going to hang him for a couple days and let this start to dry out on the hide. And we won't let it dry completely before we flip it to the other direction, but we want to go ahead and let that bark tan still sit on that hide for a couple of days. So we've got it skin side in for that reason, okay? And we'll start to let this fur dry out a little bit. All right, so as we're working this fox, I've got this bench, and we use these Viking style benches out here at the Pathfinder School a lot, but you can stand right on this thing, put your feet on it, kind of hold it steady, and you've got an area right here that's not too sharp that you can now start to work that hide across to break that hide. And you'll start seeing areas pull up on the hide. And that's what it's supposed to be doing. So now you're just going to keep working this hide, stretching this hide, and working this hide until it's dry. And that's pretty much what you've got to do now, is just continue this process all over the hide until you get it dried out. And this shoulder area is going to be the toughest to get. Now the head will probably never get real soft. It'll probably be fairly thick no matter what. So don't worry too much about that. The face in that area is probably not going to get real soft on you, no matter what you do. However, the back of the neck, the shoulders, all the way up to that head crown, you can get that pretty soft if you just keep working it till it's dry. Another trick with breaking hides is just use a cinder block. Okay, a cinder block works pretty good if you got one around. It works real good on these areas like the neck that tend to be pretty hard to break. It'll break that neck really, really good for you. Keep it nice and soft. The abrasiveness of a cinder block definitely works well on hides, especially some of the thicker ones. You have to kind of be gentle with the thinner hides so you don't rip them. But the cinder block method definitely works good at opening that thing up and making it soft. There's a bullet hole right there. I'll probably sew that up later. I think there's another bullet hole on the other side. Right there is the exit wound. So you got an entry and an exit right there. But other than that, this is a really nice hide. Now, you'll never get this face probably real soft. Although you can run it on this cinder block a little bit and make it a little softer. But you'll probably never get it as soft as the rest of the hide. That's starting to look really good now. Starting to flake up. That's exactly what you want. This hide's looking really nice. Got some beautiful fur on that dude. Look at that thing. Gorgeous. All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate you joining for another segment in this home tanning or tanning in the field series that we're working on right now. This raccoon hide that we had in the bark tan is drying out. It's going to take a little extra time with that because it's so cold outside. But I'm really excited about the way that thing looks right now and the darkness of that hide and those black walnut holes. It just makes the hide gorgeous. We're going to talk about that more on the next episode. We're going to try to finish that hide up. We'll get these other hides turned right side out now that they're soft and dry and broken. And we'll show them to you as well. Again, we've used 3 or 4 different tanning methods in this series. So stay tuned for the last part of this series coming up next week. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School, and I appreciate everything you do for our family, for our school, for our business, all our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.